Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are live on social media and we're recording this webinar for our agents that could not make it. So we are bringing these meetings back just to educate you guys and making sure that our agents are up to date with the market. So when we're having a conversation with our clients, we're confident and we know what we're talking about. As we know that the interest rates are changing every week. Matter of fact, it changes every single day. It goes up and down throughout the day. So there's no one rate that's going to stick there. So we want to do this on weekly Wednesdays and Saturdays at 11 a.m. and just going over what's in the news, how are the interest rates, and how is the market right now, supply and demand. That matters. And we're going to pick one topic. Today's topic is going to be MLS Stratus. So once we go through our news and what's on the market, we're going to go through MLS Stratus and just make sure that we know how we use that, right? So to further ado, so let's get started with MBS Highway. This guy's name is Barry Habib, and he's been in the mortgage market for over 30 years. So he usually, he does webinars, seminars, and he knows what he's talking about. And as loan officers, we follow him just to guide us. So I want to get started with his video, and let's see what he has to say. And this was for this morning today, and he throws a video every single day. What was that? You cannot hear Barry? Hmm, it does something. Hold on one second, sure. And let me know if you guys can hear him now. No? All right. So I gotta fix that. But I just want to go over what he's basically saying that the applications are getting better, right? And we're gonna go through some articles which emphasize that as well. The interest rates are getting better. The highest we saw was around close to 8%, 7.5, 7.75, and it's been trending downwards from there. So the market application just in general are getting better, and that was his point on this video. So we'll move on to our interest rates. And this is directly from Freddie Mac, right? And this gets updated on weekly basis. And as of the 19th, according to Freddie Mac, the interest rates are 6.15. And these are the averages. So when you're speaking with your clients, you also have to tell them that, hey, right now the interest rates are around 6%, right? Depending on your credit score, depending on how much money you're going to put down, your lender will give you different rates. But if the averages are six, and if someone else is offering you eight, or if someone is offering you four, you got to find out why is that's happening. But as realtors, someone asks, hey, what are the interest rates? And if you say, hey, I believe they're around 6% right now, you're in good hands. You're giving them a right advice, and they can go to three different lenders or multiple different lenders and find out what they're getting offered at. But if you say around 6%, you're on the right track. Okay. And this is through Freddie Mac. Another company that we use is Mortgage News Daily. And according to them, and this gets updated on daily basis, for 30-year fix is showing 6.25, very close to what Freddie Mac is saying. But if they're going with the FHA offers a lower interest rate than a conventional. So 6.21, this is for conventional, 5.82, that is for your FHA. So a lot of people ask, why would someone not go with FHA, right? FHA is a great program when you have a first-time home buyer, and it could be a second home too. But the biggest difference is that they have to live there. It has to be their primary residence for at least 1 year, right? So that's the as long as that person is willing to live on that new property for 1 year, they can get an FHA loan. And but the issue with FHA loan is that they have to pay a mortgage insurance, right? If they put down less than 10%, that mortgage insurance never goes away. So eventually they have to refinance. Okay. But if they put down 10% or more on FHA, once it hits 20%, it will go away, your mortgage insurance. Otherwise, when the lender is speaking to them, usually when a client comes to us, we give them all the options. Hey, this is what FHA is offering you. This is what conventional is offering you, and then they decide. But just know that the FHA interest rates are a little bit lower than the conventional. Okay, but low sixes, we have locked many loans on 5.99, where a client comes in and we offer them, hey, if you buy it down for $3,000, $4,000, 1.2 points, and the interest rates are lower, the monthly payment is lower. So you have those options. But back to this, 6% is the key. Okay, and then we'll see on Saturday if this changes or not, but that's where we at right now, right? So these are the averages. So now I want to show you guys the system that we actually use to qualify someone and let them know what interest rate we have to offer them. So this is our pricing tool. So let's say someone is trying to purchase a house for 625, right? And it gets appraised for 625. And they say, I want to put down only 10%, right? And they want to purchase in Queens, right? And it's going to be owner occupied. And they're purchasing a single family. And the FICO score, it's around 680. And they're going for a conventional. And let's see the pricing that they will get. These are our arms. We don't recommend to any of our clients, especially first-time home buyer, adjustable mortgages where the interest rate is lower in the beginning and then it changes with the market. We never want that. We want them to get the 30-year fixed rate. So whatever numbers that we're giving them from day one, that does not change for 30 years, right? So for this particular borrower will go with, they will get a rate sheet something like this. So there's UWM, which is a lender, is saying that we will offer 7.625 for this client, but they can buy down if they want to, right? So any client that you have, doesn't matter which bank they go to, which lender, they usually give them a rate sheet and they're locking that rate sheet. If they're good with, six, even they're paying 2.5% or two and a quarter, but they will get six on the dot. Okay. So again, the goal here is for you guys to know that, hey, today's interest rates are around six, but depending on your credit, depending how much money you're going to put down, depending on your lender, they'll offer you different rates. Okay. And now let's talk about affordability. And this, I want some feedback from our agents here, uh, and we will use the example here. So someone just shout out, unmute yourself. Let's say a household income. Give me an example. What would be a household income total if it's a husband and a wife working together? Let's use annual income. Someone throw a number. Yeah, both of them are working. Yeah. So let's just go with $50,000. You're saying if someone is a household income of $50,000, and we said the interest rate around between 6 and 7, so let's just call it 6.5, right? And Julian, how about the down payment? How much money they have saved up? You think you're just making it up? Okay, $20,000. So 20 is there. And how about their monthly obligations? This is the minimum payment that they're making on their credit cards, or they have a car payment. Just a rough number, you think? No, no. This is the monthly payment. So you get a credit card bill, right? And the credit card bill, it says your balance is $4,000, but you have to make $200 minimum payment today. So we're counting just the minimum payment, right? So I want you guys to know that this is a monthly obligation that the lender is asking. How much minimum payments are you guys making? It could be two different credit cards. It could be your car payment or anything like that, right? Anything that's your payment is revolving. Every month you have to pay that, right? So typically it's around $200 to $300 depending on your expenses. And the property tax, if you're looking at a property in Queens, typically you're looking on average of $7,000. Property taxes, they could be lower, but let's just use $7,000. And for home insurance, typically $1,500 for the whole year, okay, which is around $125 per month. And DTI, we're going to use 49. So based on the information you gave me, Ray, this person does not qualify for anything. So if you're having a client that says, "Hey, I'm making $50,000 and we have $20,000 in savings," you want to tell them, "Hey, speak with your loan officer and see what options that they give you." But for as realtors, you guys should know that this person does not qualify for much. So if you're showing this person a property that's worth $500,000, you're really wasting your time, right? So you want to make sure that your clients are qualified. This is for your own knowledge. So let's just say now we have another family, it's a husband and a wife, and they're both making $60,000. So there's making $120,000 together, right? And now their savings, they have saved up over quite some time now, and they have around $80,000 in savings. But now their monthly obligations is a little bit more too. They have a car payment and they have a credit card debt piling up, and their monthly obligation is around $500. They're still looking in Queens, $1,500, everything else. Now that family qualifies for $627,000, right? It's a huge difference. So you guys want to make sure that your clients that you're showing are qualified, and you would get that knowledge just by knowing how much income they're making, how much down payment they're putting down, and they're giving this information to the loan officer already, right? But for your knowledge, you guys should know this, that how much they're actually qualifying for, and don't waste your time if they don't qualify. On the same note, though, this happened to many of our agents already, where the person seems like he does not qualify, and they're really eager for you to keep showing them the properties, and you guys showing them the properties and everything, and all of a sudden they come up with a co-borrower. Hey, I found my cousin, I found this person, and they're going to be signing the documents with me. Obviously they'll be obligated with them, but they have that. So you don't want to be discouraged at all, but just know that, hey, if they don't qualify, just ask them, hey, you're going to have find another co-borrower with you, or how are we going to make this deal happen? You don't want to waste your time. Okay. So these numbers: household income, your down payment, basically how much money they're making and how much money that they have saved up already. Okay. Just on that note, for the down payment, even though they say they're going to put down $80,000, our realtors should know that there's a difference between down payment and closing cost. Down payment, if saying I'm putting down 10% down payment, that 10% is going towards the loan, but they still have to pay for closing cost, which includes your appraisal fees, right? Which includes your title, So you don't want to buy a house and then another a month goes by or a year goes by, someone comes and knocks on the door and say, "Hey, this is my house." So you guys have to know that a title insurance, when they have title insurance, the title companies only insuring that house when they know that the title is clear. There are no issues, and the last owner could sell this property, and there's no issues. And now the new borrower has to pay around $3,000 to $4,000 for the title insurance, and that's part of your closing cost. So collectively, all the fees you want to look at is around 3%. So this person needed they have $80,000 down payment, but the closing cost is also $16,000. So they got to make sure that they have at least $96,000 in their bank account for their down payment and closing cost. Okay. The biggest takeaway should be that, hey, you have your down payment, you have your closing cost, put them together. That's the total amount that you need to close that deal. Okay. So if you guys have any questions on this, you guys want to ask me now or after we go through this, let me know. I'll wait a minute. Sure, Tony. Yeah, Brian. Closing costs? Yes, you can in a way where it's if you don't have enough savings and you need seller's credit, then you can roll it. Otherwise, you just got to decrease your down payment and make sure that these funds are available because you have to pay them at the closing. And the loan officers usually will go when they're giving you a loan estimate. These closing costs that we're talking about, that's when the loan estimates come in. So let's say you come to us and we tell you, hey, the total fees is around 3%, and then you go to another lender and there might be 4%, and you go to another lender and there might be 6%. So you have to compare those, how much they're charging and everything like that. That's why the loan estimate comes in and gives you a full details. Yeah, that would be That would be through the lender, and if there's any first-time home buyer, the biggest thing with first-time home buyer is that they can put down 3.5% with FHA loan, and it has to be their primary residence. But if you're asking for the assistant program, that would be through the city program. Yeah, yeah. There's no grants. Yeah, usually the lenders will not touch it. But if let's say you're living in New York City and the city is providing some sort of grants, which they are, you just got to find them. If you qualify, yes, for sure. And another thing is that you can save on some fees in some of the counties where your average annual income is below, average. So if household income is below average, but again, the lender will go through that. But for our new agents, my biggest takeaway from this should be that, hey, uh, just let your borrower know or your clients know that, hey, make sure that you have your closing costs. It goes a long way, right? Yep. All right, guys. Yes. Yep. Yeah, for mixed use, a little tricky from lender to lender, but they just want to make sure that the mixed use has 50% residency. So let's say you have the mixed use, the first floor has an office, right, some sort, and then the second floor had two units. Those are residential. It could be one unit for one bedroom and another unit for one or two bedrooms. So this way we know that there's two residence places upstairs and there's one business downstairs. So obviously it's 66% is up there. So you would qualify for that. Yeah. And you have to obviously live there if you're going to get an FHA loan, right? Sure. All right, guys. Any other questions before we move forward? All right. Next are just some headlines. This is from the Mortgage Note, and this is from today's. Uh, purchase loan sees double digits boost. As we mentioned, the interest rates are decreasing now, and the mortgage applications are increasing. right? And we will talk about that later. Why the prices are not coming down? If the interest rates are dropping, why there's we're still seeing so many offers. This happened yesterday where one of our agent put in a offer above asking, and then he still had to go up a little bit higher to get that offer accepted. So I just feel like we're definitely in a buyer's market. We should be um, putting in offers below asking price or right next to asking price and not going above it just because it seems like we're in a buyer's market. But we'll go through why inventory is a big issue still with us, right? And this is another headline from Housing Wire and Housing Market Tracker: purchase apps jumped 25%, just like how we saw on the mortgage note there, right? And this is from National Mortgage Professional. A record of 25% of home buyers in fourth quarter sought new metro areas. So as long as we know that the people are moving, we are licensed realtors. Our job is to find them a property. So as long as we see that you have a client that's well qualified, you just want to show them the properties, and they might want to move out from Brooklyn to Long Island, Queens to Long Island, from Long Island to Brooklyn, whatever the case might be. You want to be there. So we know that the sales are increasing, but you have to do your part. Okay. And interest rates, as we know that the Fed always increasing and decreasing in them and everything. And we had the audio issue before, so we might have go through the same thing with this one. Wall Street Journal as well. We're thinking that the Fed will make a stop now with the hikes because they keep going up every 6 weeks. They're increasing it, so because they want to decrease the inflation rate, right? So they have to make sure that the market is not buying or selling a lot. So they want to bring down the inflation rate, increase the interest rates, right? But we saw that the highest, as we mentioned before, it was in the high sevens. Now it's coming down, and we're projecting as loan officers that most likely by end of this year it should come down to fours. That's what we're projecting. We could be wrong, but that's what we're projecting on that. And guys, for commercial, I want at least few of our agents to know that there's a website LoopNet for commercial listings, and be on the commercial side. Is a higher commission rate that you guys can make there, and the buying and the selling process is very same as residential. So why not be part of that as well? And in order to do that, if you just start paying attention to LoopNet, which is a free website for you guys, put in the county that you guys want to see the properties for, and sort it by the newest. So this way, the latest property you guys see on the market is above here. And just look at this property here. This is in Valley Stream, right? And this is vacant, property listed for 1.4 million. And so this way, if you guys know what's on the market, so if a client comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for commercial, you guys know exactly where to guide them, right? So get used to this LoopNet website. Okay. No accountant needed, but if you do get a listing and you want to list your property on LoopNet, then you have to pay for it. But I feel like as buyer's agent, you don't have to do any of that. Just be part of it. Pay attention to this website here. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? All right. Next is our Property Shark. Again, not a lot of our agents are in auctions. There are some teams out there where they go to the auctions, and there's just two locations, one in Queens and one in Nassau, that we focus on. And Property Shark gives you that list. So I will be printing these list as PDFs and sharing that on Microsoft Teams with you guys on weekly basis. So this way you guys don't have to worry about logging in, logging out. So just be informed that if we send you a list of 10 properties, doesn't mean that all 10 will show up on at the auction, because the court is always trying to listen to to the seller or the current owner, why the property took so long for to come to the auction. And now if they can somehow give it back to the owner, if the owner can bring in their money to pay off the old loan, they will do that. They will get the first priority. But if that doesn't happen, it has to go into auction, and a new buyer will come in. So the process is there. Property Shark will have a list. So this is for Nassau County, and this shows that this is actually today happening at 2 p.m. Right? There's a property in Hicksville, and it has a lien for $510,000. So at some point, the owner stopped paying for this property, and the mortgage amount just keeps increasing. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, but now the bank wants $510,000, and this property might be worth, depends, 600,000, 700,000, really depends on the specs, right? But your job is just to know that there's a property in the market, and if an investor comes up to you and looking for a property, you want to show them this. The way it works is that you can either have the borrower go with you, go on the auction, and we have a form where they just fill out and they give you the commission. You can agree on 2%, 3% of the price. So let's say you go with them, and they go for, you guys agreed on 2%, and they buy a property for $600,000. You can make that 2% on the same day. And the goal here is you don't have to purchase anything. I want you guys to at least go there. Even if out of all our agents, 60 plus agents that we have, even a few of them start going there, you guys will get the gist of it. When I started, I didn't take anything with me. I was like, let me just go there, see what is happening. Right, the next day I took my laptop, started taking notes and all that, right, when the auction was happening. And then the following time, just got involved and actually bought a property and flipped that property. So if you guys are on that level, great. If not, find a buyer that's willing to purchase a foreclosure, and you want to be part of that, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have plenty of questions on this. But on this note here, you see the address, you see a description, you see the auction date, the time, the location. Before COVID, we were doing all the auctions in the court, and now it's happening front of the court on the steps. Everybody just gathers around, and and one of the auctioneer comes in and says the property, and then the auction begins. And that's pretty much it for the Property Shark. Any questions or concerns about this, guys? Sure, Madia. Good. You're sorry. You're yeah. Yeah, we're paying. Yeah, it's just just like GeoData, we would like to give access to everyone for Property Shark, but Property Shark has security issues where if two people log in, they simply block the account. So rather than that, on weekly basis, I'll select all these and then save it as PDF and send it to you guys, so you guys can know what's coming on the market, right? Yes. Sure, and I'll do the same thing for Queens as well. All right. All right, guys. And since Mahadia spoke, this is thanks to Mahadia for Zillow agents. So if you guys want leads, we were promoting only Op City before, but now the feedback that we're getting from our agents that the Op City is not the best, resource, I guess, for leads. Right? They are sending you leads, but they're not qualified, or they're not solid enough. Zillow has a little bit better, but they don't charge anything on at the closing. But you have to have a budget with Zillow. It could be $200, $300, going on different zip codes, that you want to advertise yourself at. So if you want to do that, sorry about that. So if you want to do that, we can share some cost with that, right? With co-marketing. So once you log into your Zillow premium account, you want to go to where it says advertisement. Your ads are showing up under my ads. So let me log in, and you will see your list of zip codes here and your invoices and all that stuff. So let's say your budget is $500 collectively. It could be two or three different zip codes. You want to go to advertisement and share with lender. What would happen is that you can send an invite to us, right, as LJ Mortgage Team Inc., and we can share some cost. So when you click on invite a lender now, you would type in the name LJ Mortgage Team Inc. and LJ Mortgage Lucky at LJ Mortgage Team Inc.com, phone number. Right. So this is pretty standard. You have our name, our email address, and our phone number for the mortgage side. And now you can spend up to 50% of the budget with us. So let's say you're spending $500 collectively with three different zip codes. You can come in and say, hey, when you're going to have that conversation with us before, we'll agree on a price. And let's say we agree on $200, you would put $200 and invite lender. We would get the email, we'll approve it. So on monthly basis, whatever your cost is, we'll share that. Okay. And it would look something like this now. So once you're on Zillow and you're on Agent Finder, so under your profile here, you will see our company name, right? So we are sharing the cost. So they have their own algorithms where, let's say, they're sending you 10 leads, and if we're spending $200 with you, they probably send us as a lender 2 or 3 leads from that. Okay. And Madia, you want to share your experience on this? And because you're the one who got it. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. So, yeah, everyone, even if you don't have a Zillow account, which is a free account, and you're not requesting, reviews on it, I think we're missing out a lot on that. It's a free profile. Zillow is something like, everybody uses, even if they're just getting started. Zillow is the first thing that they go to. We can tell them, hey, we'll send you guys a link, but there's always a family member that's always on Zillow. It just, that's what it is now. So instead of saying, hey, we don't want to be part of it, we actually want to be part of it and stand out from the rest. Have a free profile. That's one. Start asking for reviews. That's two. And three, start advertising. Even if it's a small amount, let's say, you guys want to pick out one zip code and it's $200 per month, and you can do 50% with us. So 100 we'll pay, 100 you'll pay. Even if it's small amount of leads, you want to get started with that. Otherwise, how are we going to get the ball rolling? So just be part of that, guys. Go ahead. Yeah, 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 sure. And yeah, on just on the similar note, you want your client to get the best deal possible because they're purchasing a house. They're going to be paying that payment, making that payment for 30 years, right? So we never want to force them to come to us, but they can come for advice if they want, but always compare the loan estimate. You're like, how do you know if you're getting the best deal if you're not comparing it with anything, right? And if they're, let's say they're a lifelong, client of Chase Bank or Bank of America, like great, have them go to that branch and say, I'm looking to purchase a property and get a loan estimate. That loan estimate can't be something that they just write down. It has to be accurate. So the reason the loan estimates are there is because, so let's say the bank says, your total closing cost is going to be $10,000. They cannot disclose on a CD, which is a closing disclosure, is very similar to the loan estimate, and now it has $15,000 compared to $10,000, right? The government says no, no to that. They if that's the case, the lender has to eat up that $5,000, but still honor the $10,000 that they said the closing cost would be. Right, there are some tolerance levels on different section of that loan estimate, but just tell your client, hey, get a loan estimate so you know what you're going to be paying to that lender, and compare that with a couple of other ones and then go with the best one. There's they can go to one lender and do a hard inquiry where they have a hard pull. Again, there's no harm in going into a second lender and just comparing that, right? You want to advise them the best, but there are some agents out there where they say, where we went through this too, hey, if you want the deal to happen, you want to make this deal happen, you have to use our lender. That's a no-no. We don't want to do that. We never want to encourage that. More than welcome, for us to assist them, but it's not required, right? On that note, so let's finish up with our last segment, and this is our MLS strategy here, right? So first on MLS Stratus, I just want to show you guys supply and demand. The reason we're talking about, we just said, there's so many situations where we are putting, close to asking price or giving them the asking price to the listing agent, and then they come back and say, hey, we have a higher offer, right? That is what we're still seeing that even in buyer's market because of the inventory. The inventory is the biggest killer for the prices right now, right? The prices are not dropping because of the inventory. And this is just a few days ago, I read where there's less than a million properties available in the whole United States, less than a million. And we have 330 million people living in here. So we know that the availability is very small. So that is for the whole United States. But with Stratus, you guys can take a look at this on daily basis if you want. It's under listings, market stats, right? Listings, market stats. We're looking just for residential, and we want to see what's happening in Bronx, right? We're going to go through Bronx, Long Island, which is Nassau, and Queens. And we hit submit. So let's talk about Bronx here, right? All we want to look at just supply and demand. That in December, 33% less supply. So as we know that if there were 100 available properties, it went down to close to 75, right? Even less than that, to close to 66, sorry. So 33% drop is huge in Bronx. So that's the one of the biggest reasons that the prices are not dropping. If your client have only 3 options to choose from compared to 20, obviously the price is going to stay up. If they had 20 options, the prices will go down. But supply in Bronx is really low, and the demand increase about a percentage as we know that the interest rates are dropping, so the demand is increasing, right? And now look at Long Island, very similar to Bronx, 33%. This is down by 30%. So the inventory is again very low. And for Queens, it's about 23% lower. So supply and demand has to make sense to you guys. We are realtors. We got to know how's the market moving. So usually people ask, how's the market? Now you know what are the interest rates, how's the inventory looking, and what is the reason why the prices are not coming down, right? So you want to educate your clients just based on these. And these are all stats. These are facts. They are not, there's not something that you're making up, right? Any questions, supply and demand, guys? Yeah. Sure. Under once you're logged in, listings, the last option. Once you click on it, tells you what class is already checked off as residential. You can do condos, co-ops, but I usually just check residential here. So it's the single family houses, 1 to 4 units, and then you can pick towns, or you can go by counties, and then hit submit, and it will show you that. If you're new, thanks Mohammed for asking that. If you're new, there the information that you see on top is really good too. You can see how many new listings were in that area, how many total listings are there, how many closing listings, right, and how long it took those listings to be sold. So about 3.5 months, and you can see the average list price. The average average list price for this Nassau was 853, and average selling price, actual sold price, was always a little bit lower, so it's 811. And the supply and demand is right here. We good? All right, sure. All right. So now that was your stats. So just on MLS, everything that you guys see on MLS, the reason we have KV Core is getting pulled from MLS, right? If we never had KV Core, you guys would be going to, Stratus here and adding all your clients here and stuff like that. But KV Core is such a powerful tool that is grabbing everything from MLS and throwing it into our KV Core, right? So you want to use KV Core, but at the same time, this is Mohammed, right? We went through this. You had a listing, you were about to go under contract, and initially it was listed for 2%. He's about to go under contract. The listing agent dropped it to 1%, right? That can hurt most of our agents, almost everybody, right? So we want to basically download that file once we see that listing. So let's just say, let's look at a property here in KV Core. We want to download that file where we see, save it as PDF, where we see our commission. So this way, nobody can change that, or we have at least proof that whatever they listed on MLS, and it doesn't change after you're about to go under contract or the offer is accepted. So what do? We got our MLS ID. We went to Stratus. You can do a couple of ways. One, once you're on this page, you can click on the right side here, MLS, and just drop in the MLS ID. That's one way. Or you can go to listing and click on search. In here, you want to click on the last tab, MLS search, and type in the MLS. If you had another MLS ID, you can just press enter and type that in there, right? And then hit continue. And now this is your broker full. Broker full means that all the information that the listing agent provided is listed on this form here. So you have your address, you have your list price, you have your MLS ID. You see if it's a single family or not, if it's detached or not, um, and what are the taxes? 13,000 for this property. What is the lot size? What year was it built? Right? And these are the most common questions that the client would ask you. So at every showing, when I used to do the showings, I used to just print this out and take it with me. They ask how much are the taxes? I said $13,000. When was it built? 1984. What is the lot size? It's 55 by 110, but it's irregular. So that means, like, it's not just straight lines and everything like that. You're gonna see irregular, and total lot size is 7,700 square feet. Right, so that's the top portion. Then you have your remarks from your the listing agents, and these are the public remarks. These are all the selling points. Usually I read this, and when I'm talking to the client, I'm saying very similar things to these because the listing agent already did the hard work. They're selling it to you, you're selling it to the client. So read this thoroughly and pay attention. And this is a pretty big one here. If you see buyer pays NY state transfer tax plus $2,000 on this should be a really red flag for you guys because again, we know that usually the transfer tax is paid by the seller, right? We had another new agent and we had this issue as well. We're always telling that the transfer tax should be paid by the seller, but if it says this here, guys want to negotiate it. So if they're asking for 650 and you know that this is going to be an additional cost to them, then put your offer that's on the lower end. Okay, but this is a big one, transfer tax. I'm glad that this listing had mentioned that. So read that thoroughly and tell your client. Sometimes the client will say, hey, transfer tax, how much it is. We got to know this, how much the transfer tax is, even as a seller or the buyer. And we have a separate video on this, but just the rough numbers. If the property is in Long Island, keep it simple. If it's in Long Island, the transfer tax is 0.4%. So less than a percent is just zero point 0.4. But now if the property is in Queens, they're going to be paying 1.825. Huge difference. Long Island is only zero point 0.4 and Queens is almost 2%, 1.825. So we have to know that. So if this property was in Queens and they had to pay, the buyer had to pay, they're probably going to pay almost $13,000-$14,000 on this, right? So please, this is where we want to read what's on the remarks. And then you see other details like if it's a private driveway or not. For our new agents, if it says PVT, that's private driveway. If it says PTY, that's party. Party means is a shared driveway, right? And now coming back to the commission, this is what your concern should be, that this listing agent said that they're not telling you how much they're getting paid, and we don't care how much they get paid. We care about how much you're going to get paid, which is 2% on this, right? But you don't want this listing agent, once you have your offer accepted, to go back to MLS and change it to 1%, right? So you want to download this. You can click on print or you can click on download. It says broker full, download it. So this way you have it and you save that on dot loop. So we have it on the records that this person is going to get paid 2%. Okay. Any questions on this guy so far? Right. So again, everything that we see on Stratus, we see on our KV Core, but two things we don't see is in KV Core is your commission, and we don't see any special showing instructions that the listing has provided. So in this particular case, he said use the showing time app, right? If they see that, you see showing time app here, it says schedule a showing. If you click on it, it will take you to this page, has all the property information. You want to make sure that your email and your cell phone. If for some reason our office number is showing here, change that to your cell phone because the listing agent or their assistant will call you directly to confirm, give you a lockbox or whatever the case is. You want to make sure that your information is updated here. Once you have that, click on schedule single showings and then pick the time. Let's say you want to show it today at 3:45. You select that, another pop-up window comes up. You have your appointment and this is going to be buyer's agent. You never have to give your buyer's name. Okay, this is optional. And then request it. That does not mean it's a confirmation. It says this is a appointment required. Wait for confirmation. You usually get another email, depending on the listing agent. They might be really active and send you something, right off the bat. Hey, there's a lockbox. The property's vacant. Go see it. Or they might want to, schedule a call you, ask for pre-approval and stuff like that. So it really depends on the listing agent. But just know that this is how we're scheduling through Showing Time. And Showing Time is free to use as a buyer's agent. But now let's say you have a listing and you want to use this feature, you would have to pay Showing Time around $35 per month for that. But as buyer's agent, just know that If an agent is asking to use the Showing Time app, or if you just see that up here, click on it and schedule your showing. Okay. And those are the two main things that we use Stratus for. Again, Stratus fees that we spoke about, two fees that they're charging. One is your LIBOR, Long Island Board of Realtors, and the second is One Key, right? The One Key, they jacked up the price to 140 now. It was 110, it went to 140, and your LIBOR is 545 for the whole year. Okay. And that's pretty much it for the Stratus here, for the broker full. Some of you guys, when you guys are in Info Center here, you guys not seeing this on top menu, and you probably see it on the side here. If you guys see it, the menu on the left side here, that's perfectly fine. Just click on this icon, it will throw it back up here. Okay. So first we have your Info Center. If there's any news by realtors or LIBOR or One Key MLS, it will be listed here. Um, you have your listings. If you want to make any changes to your listings, you can do that by clicking on Listings, Add or Edit. Okay. If you have it your own listing, you want to schedule open houses and stuff like that, you put in your MLS ID here and click on Edit Open House Information. And we have a separate video on that as well. Okay. What else on here? Every listing, they're getting strict day by day with MLS. So if you have a listing, even if it's for rentals, you can run it with me, because let's just say you put it up on the market, they usually hit you with $50 fine per day until you fix that mistake. So why not just run it with me one time? Hey, I'm about to make a listing. What should I do? I'll walk you through, so this way you don't get hit with any fines there. Okay. If you want to access Ally Realtor to pay your fees, you can click on that as well, and it will take you to allyrealtor.com. All right. So we're running out of time, guys, and tell me if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything on your mind, please. Yeah, Julie. You want to advertise other agents' property?